for the following year, rather than penalizing them for spending all their money or not spending all their money. And as your counselor, I will not vote for a budget increase in excess of the rate of inflation.
Anyone? This is the question it wasn't that was that we've replaced. We're going to you, sir. Question is, please define leadership and explain to us through examples how you demonstrate leadership or will demonstrate leadership if elected. Do you want me to repeat the question?
Yeah, maybe.
Okay.
So that's brand new.
Yes, this is Dave Kilgore, for Dave Kilgore. So we're beginning here. One more time for the audience. Please define leadership and explain to us through examples how you will demonstrate leadership or will demonstrate leadership if elected. Let's Dave.
I'm sorry? 2 minutes?
Yes.
I think leadership is the ability of a person to work within a group and lead the group in directions that they feel that, or he feels, or she feels that they should be going, and trying to draw consensus out of the group. I think over the years I've shown leadership in many directions, a couple of them going back to the former town of Cape Girardeau in working on the purchase along with council of the Millennium Center, turning it into a bunkhouse for the CN by going down and talking to the CN president in Ottawa. I think we did the same thing when we worked as a city council together and developed the call center, which by the way is the only one that was operating. It started up at that time, it was still operating, and we have close to 150 people still working out of that call center across the street. I think as we move forward, I try to show leadership at the city council level by taking positions of responsibility such as chair of planning and attending, as Michael mentioned earlier, attending things like chamber meetings, and I don't think I've missed any of their speakers during this year. I think there are so many things that as a leader that you do by just example and going out and spending time. Spending time is not necessarily going around and talking to people one-on-one, but actually being in the trenches and trying to make a difference with the staff that you're working with. Thank you.
Bruce.
This question kind of took me by surprise. Leadership, to me, also involves everyone concerned. To lead and to follow, in that order. How am I going to put this? We have to, under leadership, when I was an inspector on construction sites, we would have construction meetings, pre-construction meetings, budget meetings, and I would have to lead this whole process to get some answers. That's about all I could think of for now.
Thank you. Mrs. Gattler.
This is a great question, and thank you, Dave. Very clever. Leadership to me is listening. Leadership is working with a team. Leadership is making difficult decisions, even when it's not going to please absolutely everybody. As I mentioned earlier, I've been on boards of directors since the age of 15. I'm now only 31. But one of those boards of directors was the Coppercliff Curling Club. We kept being faced with similar situations as we've been facing here in the city. Always wanting to increase our dues. At the end of the year, asking for $100 or $200 from every member of the curling club. Finally, sitting on that board, I said, this has to stop. I worked with other board members and championed the idea of operating the club on a volunteer basis until we could make things viable. And through buy-in from the rest of the board, we made that happen. We went from losing $20,000 to $30,000 a year to making $20,000 to $30,000 in a year. And it's not just because we eliminated a salary in a manager, but it's because we drew the whole community of the curling club together to operate the club and have faith in it. And that's what I think needs to happen in Ward 7, and that's what needs to happen in the city of Greater Sudbury.
First thing a leader does is listen to gather information. They must also remain calm under pressure because people are watching you to make sure you have control. Know your staff. Know what makes them tick. Know how to engage them and get them on board. Lead by example. Don't be afraid to get dirty. Don't be afraid to grab the mop. Never ask someone to do something you wouldn't do yourself. Gain consensus. Think on your feet. Have a plan. Anything can happen. Be prepared. And be prepared to change that plan as it needs to, depending on, of course, what's happening. And of course, my favorite thing, I always say to my staff as a supervisor, you work for me, and I sure as heck will work for you.
Thank you very much, and that's a question that came up at the first evening we did this, and I like the question. We replaced question number 5, and I just want you to know what the question was so you won't think that we took something up that was really important. It's why should citizens of your ward elect you? I thought that they would tell you that in their closing remarks. If they missed that point, well. Okay, we're going to take a short break. We'll take a sanitation break, so we'll be back in a flush. So give us 10 minutes. In the meantime, we are going to hand sheets out. If you have any questions, please write them down, and we will start. In 10 minutes sharp. We'll be back. Thank you.